Welcome, everybody, to the next episode of Heresy Hammer, where we are joined by myself, Rob, and we have Lee with us. Lee's just come off a night shift. Lee saving
Yes.
lives and putting out fires. But we have it's a Friday at 10 a.m. and we are doing the Heresy Hammer for you. And we've got quite an exciting show ahead, haven't we, Lee? Because mainly because of the
I
feedback
think so.
from the last show. And the last show, if you didn't watch it, was all about what armies we could create from me and Lee with two of the new battle group boxes. And then this show is all about throwing that one out to you guys and seeing what you guys can come up with and what you guys created. So I think we've got 7 lists today to go through, Lee,
Yes.
using those two battle group boxes as a base. And what's even better is that these go on pre-order on Saturday, so recording a day before these go out on pre-order. So I think
Yes.
we'll drop this episode on the day they go out for pre-order to encourage people to buy, perhaps. But one thing, I mean, we can talk about it a little later. A little bit disappointed that this is uh, these are only for limited time only. So if you are thinking of doing one,
Yeah.
then grab a box fast, is what I would say. Anyway, let's hop over to our sponsors for the show. So we've got Dan from Gate 3D Printing, who's been a long time supporter of the show and supports lots of our events. He does excellent prints, and he has lots of connections and affiliations, particularly with Wilf, and he does some lovely prints and has done some lovely prints for us from Wilf. So make sure you go check him out on Instagram. We also have Beowulf Miniature Printing. So these guys have a website, definitely worth checking out for all your bits, and certainly we'll be referencing Beowulf and Gator 3D throughout this episode today. But if you're looking for those little bits, little chain axes, little plasma guns, whatever, then Beowulf is definitely the guy you should go to. Definitely worth checking out his website as well. But we also have Curtain Games. So I picked up a Leviathan box set from Curtain Games when that dropped, and they did a great deal for me. So make sure you pick up your battle group boxes from these guys because I've no doubt they'll have that typical, um, discount. But also, it came to me really fast, and yeah, I was just really impressed by the postage from these guys as well. So at Kirsten Games, make sure you check them out. So thank you guys for sponsoring this episode of the show. Let's head over. What we've got next, Lee.
Bum bum bum.
So, our Heresy Hammer this week is going to be actually a look at some of the armies on parade for John's most recent event. So, it wasn't last weekend, it was the weekend before that. John hosted an event. Just a brief summary. Basically, the hook of the event, and I think every event, every decent event needs to really have a hook to it, was it was escalating points. So, we started on the Saturday early morning on 1,500 points. Then it was a 2,000 point game, then 2,500 by the end of Saturday. And then we had 3,000 points on Sunday. And that was really cool. The Warlord had to be the same in every single one of the lists. So there were some list building challenges. I definitely think 2,000 and 2,500 points for Heresy is where it's at. Some people will like the bigger toys and the bigger list, that's absolutely fine. But I really liked the constraints that are putting you with smaller list builds. These, though, are the 3,000 point lists because these were shown on Sunday. And actually, what a lot of people did was kind of just added points to their lists in order to bump it up.
Right.
So there wasn't too much configuration of lists from people. I mean, some people obviously did, but really what happened was that people kind of just bolstered it in points of 500 just to get them to where they needed to be. A knight is a classic thing to add, right? If you wanted to do that.
Yeah.
And here we've got Rob's. So he had a Raven Guard and Iron Warriors, I think, by the looks of things, and then some Imperial Knights, and we've done loads of discussions about Imperial Knights on our Tacticas and Armigers as well, but a really cool looking list. So you should be really pleased with that one. Let's have a look at the next one.
Is this
Ah,
the
yeah.
what's
So
that called? The thing in the middle?
this is the Kaitan. I
Khitan. Is this the first
think,
time we've seen one in the wild? I
yeah,
can't
I've
think.
I've not seen one. Uh, in
No.
the wild, unless it's been like a 40K event. I've just been happened to be going around. But so Tom is a really, really nice lad. And I think he picked up an award for this army. I think that it was around the kind of like the theme of the force, but it was absolutely awesome. Like you got solid shot Leviathans, you got the Khitan, which was an absolute beast. It had demons in it, and it had some militia as well. It was really hot, right? Like it was a really cool looking, really cool list, and lovely, lovely guy Tom. So if you ever get to play him, you have no doubt he'll give you a really good game.
Was it it wasn't part of the pack to have like more than one allied
Yeah,
detachment, was
so
it?
so
Oh, it was.
John allowed you to have up to two allied detachments.
Yeah, okay.
Um, so that's how we can have the demons, and that's how we can have the militia
It
as
just
well.
seems to be a recurring theme that I've
Yeah.
not seen
So
before. So
yeah, so um, the what that allowed for in this particular list were quite themed, particularly around the traitors, were quite themed lists of allowing people to do things just like Tom did, which is that it really felt like a Siege of Terror Force. You had demons, you had the militia, and then you had the World Eaters sort of leading them. So it felt super, super themed. So I think
yeah, it
the
looks
additional allied detachment, I don't think it was broken, but it was an interesting kind of.
no,
I
it
hadn't seen.
looks fucking awesome.
Yeah,
Looks cool as
great.
fuck. Oh, here we go.
Yeah, so this was Simon's really cool list. It's been a while since I've seen Simon's Force or seen him at an event, but this was Alpha Legion with Sons of Forest Allies. It's a really cool list, but and it's kind of my bag. This kind of list, like this is something that I definitely can see myself running. Um, but what was noticeable about this was the whole like pastel colors of the palette that he had used. You know,
Yeah,
quite it wasn't a metallic Alpha Legion scheme. They're all quite pastel like, even the Sons of Forest. It was a really he did a great job. Really, really cool. And yeah, I really like this list because I just felt it was something that I would definitely run.
I fucking love those grey Alpha Legion. We have some action shots later on as well, and you'll see a close up of them. And I've been having very bad thoughts of
Yeah.
grey Alpha Legion. They look so fucking cool.
It really just stands out. Like if you're looking to do armies on parade, right, and you're really looking to win, like doing something different, I think
Mm,
makes things stand out. Oh,
yeah.
really, really important.
Yeah, this looks awesome. I love that color for the Alpha Legion as well, because Alpha Legion is another one of those legions where you get like yours are quite metallic blue that you're doing, aren't they?
Yeah, yeah.
And then you get almost like pastel colors like this, like you say. It's yeah,
And
they
and
look
they all read as Alpha Legion as well. That's what I really like about the Alpha Legion. That
yeah,
all read
yeah,
as.
yeah. Cool.
Uh,
Uh,
so yeah, so Iron Hands. So I think this was Silas's list. I think it was Solar, Iron Hands, and Mechanicum. So I think this was quite a well. I think it was quite a strong list, but I'm just saying that. But I'm sure it was. I'm sure Silas had a very good time. Um, yeah, cool list.
cool. Sorry, I'm my internet's playing up at the minute, so you're breaking up a bit.
Sorry.
Cool. Oh, look at this dickhead.
Oh, here we go. Yeah, so Ollie bought a Warhound for his 3K games.
Of course he did.
And six laser destroyers. I don't know what's worse, the Warhound or six
What,
laser destroyers. It was
what a
really
prick.
interesting to see because Tom played Ollie, having no with his Sons of Forest, having no idea what a Warhound was capable of, and just threw some guys into it. And I don't think he killed it. So it was an interesting matchup. But yeah, I mean, what's not to love about Ollie's force? Really great looking force.
Yeah,
Really awesome looking Imperial Fist that he's been
yeah.
working.
It's
Super
just a shame he's such a prick.
And yeah, it was obviously always a joy to see that force.
Yeah, it's fucking awesome.
Yeah, it's brilliant.
Uh,
Yeah, so we got Tom's Sons of Horus and White Scars. I really loved this combination. I thought it was excellent. I quite like the whole theme of it. You know, like the White Scars had basically abandoned the Legion to join the traitorous Sons of Horus, right?
yeah,
And I just thought the theme was really, really excellent. Tom's worked really hard on this force. And yeah, he should be really pleased with it. I think some of the jet bikes he bought off somebody, and then he's kind of done everything else to everything else.
Okay.
So, but I think like his HQ, and I'm assuming the Mark 6 Marines are like all painted by him. But yeah, it was really cool, and that's where I saw the Golden Keshig in action, which was interesting to see them take
Okay, yeah.
Leviathan Dreadnought, just literally thumps into it, and just like boom, 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 and just took it down.
Yeah, this is a cool force. It's not we don't tend to see traitor white scars, do you?
No. It
But
was
like
great.
it kind of makes sense. They were good buddies.
Love the theme. Love the theme. It was
Yeah,
brilliant.
yeah, it's cool. What we got now?
So Tom's Space Wolf, so like an all infantry, all wounds, I guess is the thing I would say about this. No vehicles. Yeah, really cool force. Really well painted. Been working super hard on it. And Tom was the winner of our Centurion Challenge. Actually, he got £100 voucher. So I think he's going to
Yes,
maybe add a knight to this force or something like that
yeah,
to bolster it out. So yeah, really lovely force that you got ready for the event. Really nice to see Space Wolves on the table. We don't see them too often.
no.
Great job
That
with them.
Leviathan looks cool as fuck as well. I love the glowing kind of ruin effect.
Yeah, so amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, cool.
So we've got Dan's Imperial Fists and Solar Auxilia. I think he kind of like worked super hard to get the Solar Hawks done. You know, he was there until like 2 in the morning or whatever, trying to get those Solar Hawks done. But yeah,
Right.
it worked really well. Again, you can see here like you got a theme four. So I think that might be some Mechanicums. You got
Yeah, I
Mechanicum.
think it is. Yeah, I think it's some yeah.
Yeah, it's cool. The diversity on offer, I think, within these lists was something different because of the availability of a second allied detachment. So I thought that was quite cool.
I love that Kratos. I love the black and yellow.
Yeah,
Just looks fucking awesome.
yeah, that's brilliant. He's done a great job.
Just a shame they're Imperial Fists. Talking about Imperial Fists.
Yeah, more Imperial Fist. So this is Painted Teeth, um, and definitely worth giving him a follow. So this is more than the 3,000 point list. He actually, I think,
Okay.
he brought his entire army.
Nice.
But there were some cool conversions within this force. So not only was it really well painted, and I think everybody was kind of going like, "Oh, this is really well done, like it's really well painted." But on top of that, there were some really cool 3D printed bits within it. So the Whirlwind Scorpius is House Scorpii.
Okay, yeah.
3D printed like rockets coming out of them.
Yeah.
And where those things can look quite, I sometimes can look quite tacky. They looked really dynamic and amazing. So much so I was like, oh, okay, I'm going to have to do that now. They were just really well painted, and it was just they just added to the Scorpius because I think it's quite not a very dynamic model. Obviously because it's a fucking tank.
Yeah.
But yeah, the moment you add that, and it adds real life and depth to the tank. So yeah, definitely worth getting a hold of some of those. Did a great job.
Cool. And Matt Fuller.
Yeah, so interesting. So this is where the first time I'd seen just armigers on their own actually at this event. And Matt took two lots of 2 armigers, and then an infantry heavy force. He got 2 squads of I think Locutaris, are they?
Yes, yeah.
Super swords, and yeah, a really cool force from Matt. Like it's amazingly well painted. Like the amount of detail when you kind of like zoom in and get closer, you know, tiny little scratches here and there, and then all the conversions and stuff is great. The other thing I would say is that it's quite an upscaled version of this force because lots of it are done with 3D printing bodies from Wilf. So yeah, it looks absolutely brilliant. He's done a great job. Really
I
proud.
love that blue. Looks fucking awesome.
Yeah, and the armor just looked great as well. I think they've just been done.
Yeah.
We've got a few battle shots.
Into some action shots now.
Yeah, my missus helped me with this table actually. This was
really?
one of her tables. Yeah, she did this. She painted this up for me actually. She's very proud of this. Yeah, it's great. Yeah, really, really, really nice forces on display. I just thought the whole thing was just quite a dynamic affair because of the fact that the points levels increased.
Yeah, and it's interesting because, I mean, it's kind of one of the reasons why I wanted to show the armies is is, I mean, this is a prime example of, like even a year ago, people were like, "Oh, not taking tanks, tanks are shit," and now literally
Yeah, we've
everyone's
seen loads of
tanks.
tanks. Yeah,
And everyone was like, "Oh, contemptors are fucking going to be everywhere," and now they're there,
yeah,
but no more than anything else. But
yeah, yeah. It's interesting. Right?
um,
Right, what else we got? Show us some more pics.
oh, I love this on the left. Just
Yeah,
fucking dropping in, murdering fucking robots.
yeah. This Dark Angels Force, I thought. So for me, I thought was one of the most interesting ones because it was drop pod assault Dark Angels list,
Yeah.
and like so it had the Exindio battle automata robot thing. One of their like
Yeah, yeah.
and like I was like, man alive, can that take a dreadnought? It can fucking take a dreadnought, like a dreadnought drop
Ah,
pod. I was like, whoa, this is mental. So loads of cool things, like the Charybdis typically filled with a ton of uh the Zenobia,
lunatics.
fine, whatever. But it was really cool, like just seeing the destroyers, seeing the flamer guys. I forget what the Dark Angels Dreadwing guys are called with the plasma flamers, but they were in a
Oh
drop.
fuck. Yeah, we talked about them not long ago.
But,
Yeah, I can
but
think.
like the whole force was just really well done. I thought like it was a real attention to detail. He'd done a really good job. It was a great looking force. And then you obviously got Tom's armies there and Matt's
Yeah,
armies as well. So yeah, great
that's
looking.
just cool, and it just world eaters running forward, wanting to kick things in the face is always cool. And then we got Ollie's bullshit on the left.
Yeah, I think this
Um,
is yeah I think it's how he's. Actually, I'm not going to say whose it is because I'm not 100% sure who's that. Um, Iron Warriors is, but yeah, it looks fantastic.
I just that's just like the ultimate fire support, isn't it? Like, tell me you're an Iron Warriors player without telling me you're an Iron Warriors player.
Absolutely, yeah, 100%. Yeah,
Yeah, I love it. Fucking love it. And then is that James's Iron Hand?
yeah. James' Iron Hands versus my Sons of Forest. So I just subbed in
Oh,
few games where people had to drop in and out. Yeah, that was a good game. It was definitely balanced in the traitor favour, um, unless the loyalists could get across the board quickly.
right.
But basically, James is always such an interesting matchup for me because it's like he designs his list
Just to
specifically
beat
to
you.
destroy my list. So where he might struggle against like Alpha Legion, for me, he just absolutely tore me apart. Like I've won the game significantly, but only because I was just cowardly sitting on objectives.
I feel
Like
like I feel like that's years of like pent up, like suppressed
I think so.
rage
Yeah,
against
after
you
living
coming
it with
out on the
each other.
tabletop.
Yeah, absolutely. He absolutely always murders me, and it feels like he always gets first turn as well. And then we got painted teeths, and then Chris's mechanical on the other pick as
No,
well.
that's fucking awesome, isn't it? I just love seeing knights on the table. They just look fucking brilliant. Like really do. And is that the shield is from
Tarot Model Maker.
yes, yeah, yeah, it's cool. And here's the Alpha Legion. Oh, I fucking love that grey.
I assume these are seekers or that or headhunter. I
Yeah,
think they're headhunters because they've got the multi filter. But yeah, so this unit was just done in grey, um, and then you can see the other parts of the force as well. So yeah, he's done a great job.
yeah, looks fucking awesome.
Yeah,
I think is that it? Oh no, we got more.
yeah. So you got the Dark Angels. Like this was so cool to see. The Dark
Yeah,
Angels going on the Alpha Legion. The Alpha Legion, like what Legion rule, right? When you're that close to them, like you don't even need like the Alpha Legion's
it's
Legion rule is just completely muted.
it's just such a clash of the line
Yeah,
fucking picture, isn't it? Like just fucking get amongst them and
yeah,
chop them up with swords. I love it. Yeah,
love
it
it.
looks fucking awesome.
Done a great job. Yeah.
Um, and that Leviathan on the left just reminds me of the gif of what is it where he says I come out blasting. It just
Yeah.
and that's that. That is it.
Yeah. So we kind of got a fair amount of news to get through, right? So we got our preview tomorrow, um, and we got the old world Sigmar
Yeah.
Kings 40k, but
So
no
I
Horus Heresy. Interesting.
no, so I put this up just to be like, whatevs.
Yeah,
Like, there's no heresy unless they pull out some cheeky surprise. But
I doubt it.
I can't see it happening. So yeah, there's nothing really to
I
get
mean,
excited about tomorrow.
the only thing I would say about the 40k, so we've had a wave after wave of Space Marines. We had loads of Tyranids from before. So whether they're going to show off new faction stuff. So the faction for 40k that transferable to 30k that I think desperately needs a bit of an update
Yeah.
is Sisters of Silence. It would be nice to see potentially some models for them, some jet bikes and things like that. We've got loads of models or rules for models that don't have models for them in the Sisters of Silence list. So
Yeah.
um, and then, in terms of talents, custodies, we need some Heter on guard with some Meridian Blades, right? It'd be nice to see something like that. But I know fuck all about 40k and what is coming, what isn't. I'm sure.
No, I don't. I mean, we'll talk about it in a second, but like a lot of the demon models are fucking old now,
Yeah, it'd be great to see
and
some
need
builds
updating.
of those, right? Yeah, absolutely. So fingers crossed we get something that's transferable. We only just did an episode about Legions Imperialis, and we got a drop. So this is all in one box, right, Lee?
I think so. Yeah, I'll be honest. I haven't had a chance to read the articles, but yeah, essentially these all come
All your fast attacks,
in
right?
a box, and I mean, I just find it interesting of like what will transfer over, and like, will we see plastic javelins in the future? Will we see plastic outriders? I mean, I feel like we kind of have to, you know what I mean? But who knows?
Yeah,
I would love for them to do 28 mil plastic javelins. I just think it's screaming out for it. But
yeah, it'd be awesome. But at the moment, we have to settle with 8 mil plastic javelins, unfortunately.
yeah,
I think that basically
just
this
put
will
it on
be.
a 60 mil base. Is that
Yeah,
all
exactly,
right?
exactly. Yeah, I think this can all be bought in a box. From my understanding, all your fast attacks can be bought in a box.
Yeah, yeah. I think that's kind of how they're leaning with Epic is you'll just buy kind of detachments in a box, which is a good idea to be fair. And it's cool to see Outriders because we literally never see them in 28 mil, so it's cool to see them.
Yeah, and then we got the Spartan, and I think the most interesting thing here was
Yeah,
that we had a difference because we had the
laser
laser
destroyers
destroyers,
basically,
right?
aren't they?
Yeah, so
So
that was interesting.
this would be interesting if they ever did a 28 mil kind of weapon sprue for the Spartans.
Yeah, I reckon that would be a forge-rod upgrade. I think it would come in.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, if it is, it will be, and it'll be about 50 million pounds. But it'd
And
be interesting if they ever did it. I think it'd be quite cool.
yeah,
But yeah, tiny Spartans, and then dun dun dun.
yeah. So dropped out of the blue. So we got a full demons list. So we have previously, I think it was me and you, Lee, had talked about the bound
Bound,
demons.
yes,
Yeah. So
yeah,
basically, I think the headlines for me with this was number one, if you want to take demons, you can only take demons if they're unbound in this list. So you can't
yeah,
ally in um, any kind of allies. You can't have a legion. So if you're doing demons unbound, you're just doing demons.
yeah,
I quick thought on that was I thought it was a shame because loyalist legions have access to the talents of the emperor, and they can just do that fine willy nilly. And it would have been nice to see more variety accessible to legions through the Demons of the Ruinstorm Unbound list. But I'm sure the rules writers have considered that. I don't know if there's any like broken like combos that just means that you can essentially put these things together.
yeah,
But you can still have the bound legion list. Now, the bound legion list is basically you've got like your HQ and then your demon brutes and then Samus and Commander. So the list is super limited, but legions can get hold of demons if they want to take them. The other thing I would say about this list is that it kind of stuck to the format that we had before with legions, which was that it's like +1 strength and toughness first turn, second turn, then it's neutral, and then it's like minus,
yeah,
which was interesting by the end of the turn. Although I think for like it's minus in the fifth turn, so for like the Siege of Cathonia missions, there's no negative to playing
yeah,
demons. The HQs, particularly like the sovereigns and the Lords of War, look really really strong. But I think that the counter to those will be things that have murderous strike, just from initial like look. So the Adrathic weapons 4 talents are going to be like the ultimate thing that you're just going to blast away with. Last cannons, they're going to be the thing that you're just going to blast away at these things with. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see whether we get more people play demons. Now we have this list. I think the demon range is a little dated. Some of the models do look wicked, but
Yeah,
I think some of them are a little dated. And then the demon brutes and forge rods are just, they're obscenely priced for the models that you get.
and there's 3 of them.
There's only 3, yeah, exactly.
Like, so you just end up repeating.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I haven't had a chance. I've been working these last 4 days. I haven't had a chance to properly sit down and look at it. But I'm not mad that they've made this. You can't take an allied force because
Yeah.
I mean, again, I haven't read anything about it, but the narrative to me is like the bound is that they've been ripped from the warp by humans getting them to do what they want, and this is demons doing what the fuck they want.
Yeah.
So I'm not mad at it, but I also agree with all your reasons of like it's almost another negative for traitors who always seem to struggle at events anyways.
Yeah, it's interesting. I think that I wouldn't mind so much if the bound legion list was slightly more diversified. If
And
they
maybe they'll add to it now. Who fucking knows? Or in like 10 years' time. But yeah, yeah, like it would make sense if now they've got this out, if they updated the bound list. I think it would have been nice if you could add allies to a Demons of the Runestorm list, but only specific. So like
right?
like Cults Militia, but only like Cults Militia that are like whatever the rules are for like possessed or whatever, and yeah, like word bearers, and even like I don't know, like Sons of Horus if you have Horus, Evil Horus, whatever it's called.
Yes,
you know what I mean? I think there's certain lists that just scream demons.
Yeah.
So it's a shame on that half. But on the flip side, it's another army.
Yeah, a bit of diversification across lists as well,
Yeah,
armies as well. So
it'd be interesting to see how they perform on the table. Like a lot of their rules are similar to the corrupted rules that the word bearers have.
Yeah, yeah.
And they're fucking savage. If you have something that can just instant kill you, it's savage. But the difference of a Legion list is you still have all the things that shoot in a Legion list. So you can keep those units away from those certain things and shoot it with. Whereas demons don't have that. You kind of have to punch things in the face.
Yeah, correct.
So I think you could this is just my initial thoughts, quite easily make a list that would just hard counter demons.
Yeah.
But we'll see. We shall see.
Lots of AP3, I think, would be the thing that would you need to really rely on because they're even the Sovereign, I think, is like a 3-up save, right? So
right.
It's interesting. Yeah. Cool. Okay. Well, let us know your thoughts in the below. So this was really interesting. So this was Heresy Thursday. So if you've watched any, I did a show with Pardo the other day, and I think we discussed this was one of my major concerns. So the problem that we had is that we had this special box set for the Mark 6 weapons that came with Mark 6 arms, particularly for the heavy weapons. And one of the things that I've been kind of worried about or concerned about was the fact that would they release those heavy weapons with Mark 3 arms? Because that seemed a logical choice. Or were they going to do something mad like give us resin arms that cost like £1 trillion? But no, whoever came up with this deserves a pay rise, or whatever team, because it is genius. So basically, within the sprue for the Mark III, you get van braces to stick on to the arms of
Mark 6.
Of the Mark 6. So the Mark 6 are just basically the skeleton, and then you just add the sprues on. Add the van braces on, which is a real work of genius, actually, really, really clever, and great way to save on kits. So yeah, these are probably going to be absolutely brilliant. What I don't know is if just like the normal bolter arm, which it looks like there, it suggests there that basically you'll have an arm with a van brace built in, and then 5 additional van braces if you need them, or 10 additional.
Yeah.
So yeah, really clever, like great design feature. I think it's
Yeah, it's fucking awesome, isn't it? I just think, I don't know, Games Workshop have hired a load of German engineers or something, haven't they? Like fucking um
yeah,
and I
it's
wonder whether this is why the Mark III, because some people were complaining the Mark III shoulder pad has changed slightly, and I wonder if that's so that it does
yeah,
fit
could be.
the missiles.
Yeah,
Or
I think this is the other thing is makes more sense as to why they would go down a Mark III route than say a Crusader armor route. Because you could argue,
right,
well, we already had Mark III already, right? Uh,
yeah,
but the Mark II is not something additional
it's
that you put
yeah,
on.
no, it's
It's
different, yeah.
it is a completely separate piece of armor. So actually, this makes a lot of sense doing it this way.
Yeah.
Yeah, this work of genius. I don't think there's anybody who looked at this and went, "Whoa, that's so clever." I think everyone was like, "Yeah, that's great. Yeah, this
Yeah,
super."
yeah, cool. I think that is it. Let's have a look. Yeah.
So, okay,
Um,
cool. Right. Well, should we take a break and then
yeah.
we'll come back and then Lee's going to take us through seven Legion lists. I think we've got out of his two.
Readers lists. We're gonna
Awesome.
tear them to pieces.
Okay, right. See you in a moment. Take it away.
Right, welcome back. Hope you enjoyed that little break. Like we said, we're going to go through some readers lists. Massive thank you to everyone who sent in lists. We couldn't include all of them, just because we'd be here forever talking about lists. So if we haven't included it, apologies. Maybe we'll do another one of these at some point in the future. But like massive thank you. If you sent your list in on Battlescribe, fuck you. Like, holy shit. I lost my mind trying to decipher what was in some of these lists. But,
We were very grateful, but also fuck you.
but also fuck you. Um, but essentially, if you're not aware, what we're going to do is the two boxes, the box that's being released tomorrow contains 30 Marines, a Land Raider, and a Duradio Dreadnought. And our challenge was you have two boxes, and then you have an extra £100 to buy some bits. Can you make a list? And the lists we have Death Guard, White Scars, Ultramarines, World Eaters, and a Night Lords list to go through.
Yeah. So just as a quick aside, so Death Guard definitely seemed like an obvious one because
And
you
we
have
got lots of Death Guard lists.
because what I think one of the things I would say is that because your heavies are taken up with the radios and the Land Raiders often because they not always can be taken as a Death Gate transport option. Having the Death Guard in the Reaping is great because you then just shunt the heavy support squads over to the
Into the
troops.
troops, yeah,
So
yeah,
it's such an obvious one to do, given the bounds of of kind of like what we set. And then World Eaters, I think again that was great, and I think we talked about this last time because you just because you get loads because you got 60 dudes, two squads of 15 despoilers just seemed like such a great option
yeah,
for
yeah,
World Eaters. Right. Sorry.
yeah. I no, I agree totally. I think some of these legions lean themselves far more to the box set than others.
Yeah.
But as we'll see, I think it can be used for pretty much anything, and even the armor mark. Like I'm sure there'll be some people going, "Oh, White Scars wouldn't use Mark III," but I mean they would. So
Well, they're in Mark II there as well, right?
yeah, I think Mark II is like what people. If you think of White Scars, you think of Mark II. But we'll look
See,
at the list, and then you'll
I
realize.
definitely think of Mark Six, actually. But
Do you?
I
All
just
right.
think of a sleek
Okay.
design. I think is more.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
It's
often see them
interesting.
as quite sleek and elegant
But
warriors. So
then it's funny, isn't it? I mean, you could argue about armor marks till you fucking
yeah, to be honest,
face
I
off.
just like things in plastic. Couldn't give a shit about the mark.
Yeah,
Things
yeah.
in plastic is great.
Um, but cool. Let's get into the first one. So Stephen Ernst,
Yeah,
so he's done a Death Guard, Creeping Death Rite of War.
yeah,
So this is 2,960 points. So the headquarters is a Praetor with a master crafted Thunderhammer toxin bombs, and it has a command squad. So the command squad has Legion Standard Bearer of Power Fist, Chernobyl Glaive,
yeah.
and then three dudes of dual lightning claws, and they're all riding in one of the Land Raider
Yeah,
proteins.
I was interested to see where the because he hadn't put them in the heavy, so I was like, oh, I wonder what he's done with the Land Raiders. But yeah, because that can be taken as a decade transport, can it? So yeah, that's clever.
Yes, yeah, yeah. I'll go through the list and then I'll go through what he talks about their individual roles. Sorry, afterwards. So then we got Centurion, Master of Signals with no extra gear, and a Siege Breaker with a Nemesis Bolter. Elites
So,
are two five-man destroyer assault squads,
yeah,
which I'm
I like
a
that.
big fan of.
Yeah, so
Uh,
they yeah, that's interesting. So destroyer squads can take metal bombs, right? I don't basically. Oh yeah, there you go. Because it says metal bombs. Sorry, yeah,
yeah.
I'm getting ahead of
So
myself.
Artificer armor, scythe, toxin bombs, melter bombs, and a power maul. And then the second squad is basically a mirror image of that one,
Cool.
which I love. And I think Destroyer Assault Squad, Death Guard could look cool as fuck. You could do some cool stuff with
Yeah,
what do you call it? Like 3D printed, like slightly different helmets or something. So troops, we got two 10-man breacher squads, both equipped with Alchem Flamer, pistol, artificial armor, toxin bombs, Vexilla, two graviton guns. And then your fast attack is a Seeker squad, 5-man Seeker squad with
in the
artificial armor,
Proteus. Whoa.
combi disintegrator, combi melter times 4 in a Land Raider Proteus. And again,
That's really interesting. Yeah.
I
Okay.
quite like it. Like you don't Seeker Squad is something you don't really see.
No, and it's
Well,
interesting that as well because so I'd have to double check for whether the secret. In fact, while you continue, I'm going to double check something and then circle back to that secret squad in a moment. Actually, because
okay. What do you want to check? What?
whether they can take what kind of Land Raider Proteus they can take.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, okay. And then your heavy support slots is your two Duradio Dreadnoughts, both equipped with autocannons. Sorry, Hellfire Plasma, Aeolus missiles, and Alchem Flamers,
Yeah.
heavy Alchem Flamers. And then you've got a 10-man autocannon squad with Augury Scanner and a 10-man heavy weapon squad with last cannons.
Yeah.
Um, so, I mean, fairly standard Death Guard, but I like the fact that he's throwing in some Destroyer squads and a Seeker squad, which I feel is very well. The Destroyer squads are just the most fucking Death Guard thing ever,
Yeah.
but you just don't really see him. Um, so then he goes into how the list will be used and the where are we? So the Praetor and the command squad will be used to take enemy objectives and basically bully power armored units off of objectives. The two destroyer squads will deep strike or deploy and harass backline units, artillery units. The two breacher squads obviously are just going to camp on objectives. The seeker squads are going to hunt down and kill high value tanks or
So yeah.
HQs.
So it's interesting actually. So this is what I was looking for. So I was like, oh, the Land Raider Explorator, which they had access to in the first version of the rules, have the scout rules. So I was like, oh, you can just outflank that. That'd be really good. But Seekers actually have infiltrate,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
and that confers onto the dedicated transport,
yeah,
and then
yeah.
that then will give that gives it the option to either infiltrate or outflank, which is brilliant. That's really inspired. I think that's a great
I
Stephen.
mean, this is I did this on. Do you remember when we did the lists and I said about the world eaters and you
Yeah, 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 yeah,
squad of
yeah, yeah.
world
Because they've got
eaters
yeah, because they've got
seekers?
infiltrate. Yeah, Yeah.
and then just shove them straight in the back line. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's fucking great.
Yes.
I think it's a good idea. Well, we'll get into it in a minute. And then the dreadnoughts are hunting down like elite infantry terminators, high toughness targets. And the autocannon squad will be joined by the siege breaker, and they're going after light to medium armor. And the master of signal is joining the last cannon squad, and they're going to go after dreadnoughts and then enemy tanks.
Yeah.
How do you feel about that list? What are you
So
thinking?
I think that's really good. Should I just talk you through some of the effects of creeping death actually as well? The
Yeah,
plus.
go for it. Yeah.
So the most important thing is he's kept all the limitations within it. So models automatically pass any dangerous terrain checks that they're called upon to take. So that's great for the destroyers when deep striking down into difficult terrain, right? Because they're like, I don't give a shit about this. All models in the deployment zone gain the Shrouded 6 up special rule, and deployment zone of detachment using this right rule counts as difficult and dangerous terrain. So that's particularly great for your backfield breaches, for your because they'll get their inbound save and they'll get the Shrouded save as well, right?
Yeah.
All zones of area terrain on the battlefield, including jungles, woods, ruins, or craters, count as dangerous terrain. You don't give a fuck about that. So it's really going to fuck with your opponent, right? This right war. And then in attachment using this right war, Brave Warden Terminator squads could be taken as non-compulsory troop choice. So that's interesting because you could. This is a 2,500 point or 2,960. That's interesting. So you could then swap out something if you wanted to add a bit more punch in. But I gotta say, I really really like this list. Toxin bombs everywhere. Let me just double check what they do because it'd be quite cool to see what they do. So any model with a character subtype can buy them for 10 points. When an enemy unit declares a charge type unit that includes one or more models with the toxin bombs, roll a d6 for each model in the unit that's declared a charge. For each roll of a 1, a model with that unit has declared that a charge chosen by that unit's controlling player suffers a wound. No armor save, cover save, or damage mitigation rolls may be made against this wound, but invulnerable saves must be. That's really fucking good. You're just like, well, before we even get started on the combat, you have to roll a load of dice, any ones, basically remove them off if they don't have an impulse save. That's brilliant.
And then shopping list. He says you need 3 models for the HQs. GW heavy weapon box, which is about $40. And then obviously 3D printing services. And then he just goes into a list of what you'd need to buy, essentially. So the power mauls, jump packs, breacher shields, power scythes. You'd be able to get most of that from. He's talking $120 here, so 100 cred. So yeah, it's fine. And then he wrote a little bit that is this is nearly identical to a list I've run regularly, except I use 1 Leviathan Dread instead, but 2 Plasma Radios seems more flexible now that I look at it.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah, I would. Yeah. The assault destroyers are damn near the linchpin to this list. They can go delete tanks, then clean up random backline squads. And that's really interesting to hear because I still think destroyer assault squads are a bit of a sleeper unit. I think people aren't taking full advantage of them.
And melter bombs are just so difficult to get hold of now.
Yeah.
They're a really great unit to put them on,
I usually save my Legion reaction for the command squad if they get caught out in the open. I've got it in the list too, but sometimes I run the defense line for a breacher squad. Or heavy support squad. I like it. I like it a lot.
He's done a great job here. Great research. Spent a long time. This must have taken an hour or 2 to get ready. So really appreciate that, Stephen. And a great looking list. And anybody who's Death Guard curious, pick up 2 boxes. Follow Stephen's advice. Put it on the credit card. Thanks to Stephen. So all these people, they're going to be responsible for a financial crash, I think. Too many people in credit.
Buy some shares in GW now.
Yeah, that's right. Cool.
Yeah, I really like this because we've got a couple more Death Guard lists, but I mean, the fact that he's used destroy squads, I fucking love because
Yeah,
I just think they're the most metal thing ever. I
yeah,
fucking love destroy squads.
yeah. He's done a great job.
Um,
Cool. Okay, let's have a look at
yeah.
the next one then, Lee. He's done.
Right.
This is brilliant. See, it's going to be a tough one to beat this. Oh, this is it a list specifically designed to destroy one? Usually,
So next up is James the Whacker Hamilton.
James, actually, interesting to say, James, I'm sure you will be watching this, but Lee said this was the perfect format to put this in. Right?
Yeah, I did.
James, this is the format that I just need.
I was having a whinge to Rob a couple of days ago of having to fucking go through some of the lists, and I used this as the perfect example of how to keep it very fucking simple for my simple brain. So Death Guard, 2,500 points. Right of War, The Reaping. HQ is Praetor, Paragon Blade, Alchem, Combi Flamer,
Cool,
Herald with Power Scythe.
Yeah.
Troops are they exactly the same? Yeah. So 2 10-man veteran squads, Artificial Armor, Power Fist, 2 Lightning Claws, 2 Power Sword, 2 Melter Guns, and 3 Chain Bayonets.
Interesting.
10-man heavy support squad with multi-melters and a 10-man heavy support squad with heavy Alchem Flamers, which I fucking love. Yeah, and then a 10-man tactical squad. Elites is 4 Apothecary. And then your heavy support is 2 Land Raiders with the extra Twin Link Blast Cannon and Searchlights. And 2 Radio Dreadnoughts in a Talon with the Anvilus autocannon battery and the missile launcher, which obviously come in the box.
Yeah, so that's really interesting. So a couple of things there. So my immediate thoughts are is low on scoring for 2,500 points. So he's got the vet squads aren't scoring, even though they're in the troop slot. They don't get
yeah.
And then the heavy sports squads again, even though they're in the troop slot, they don't gain lines. But he's got the tax squad, and then he's got Herald as well to give him 2 line units. So I think if you were to expand this, my immediate thought would be okay, either take an additional Herald, add a command squad to the Praetor, or just add a couple more tactical squads in there. But if you just want to murder stuff, right, this is like the list for you. And then the other thing to say on this league with the Rite of War, any model chosen that's got the character subtype can take rad grenades for 10 points in this list.
Yeah, it's awesome, isn't it? That is good. Fucking great. So chain bayonets would be instant killing, would they? I guess.
Are they +1 strength?
Are they +1? Are they? Oh, okay. That's a shame.
I think +1.
See, I would be tempted to stick some power moles in that squad.
Yeah. Yeah. So you could swap out the power swords for power moles, right?
Yeah, that's what I'd be tempted to go down that route. Plus, I think power moles look a bit more Death Guard than power swords. Man of many words. Praetor with 1 vet squad, Herald with the other, both in Land Raiders, Apothecaries with the vet squads, and heavy sports squads. So there you go.
Fine, fair enough. It's a really hardy, tough list that will take down basically all things. What I really like though, more than anything, is the addition of the Alchem Flamers. Right, I think that's really
fucking
cool.
love it. Cool. I guess if you wanted to add on to here, you'd probably get some transports for some of them.
Yeah.
Try and keep them alive a bit longer. And then he went on to write things you'll need outside the boxes. So Death Guard Praetor from Forge World, bits to convert a Herald, bits to convert the Apothecaries, and then the heavy weapons upgrade, which he's calculated to come in at about £95.50.
Yeah, that's great.
Which is fucking awesome. 2,500 point list for what? £300, something like that.
Yeah. Yeah, because we know the price of the box now as well. So £125 from GW, from retailers, right? Yeah. The other, so just to say the chain bayonets are +1 strength. But they've got shred, and they're winning on 2s. Because obviously the toughness against
yeah.
So basically they're always going to be hitting because you get to because the shred on them as well. I really like this list. Like if I were to do Death Guard, I'd probably do something something similar to this, right? Very, really, really cool.
Cool. Well done, James. And then I think we move on to our last Death Guard list.
Oh,
So this is one of the lists I think I had to rewrite because for some reason the email cut half of his list off, so I couldn't quite see the front part. So if I've made any mistakes, let me know. I don't think I have. So Mark Ainsworth, Death Guard, right order, Reaping, 2,500 points. So you can see straight away that he's added some bits. So the HQ is Praetor, Power Scythe, Rad Grenades, and then he's added in a 5-man Cataphractii command squad, 2 Power Fists, 2 Chain Fists, Thunderhammer, and they're all rolling in a Land Raider Proteus with the extra Twin Link Last Cannon. Elites, 10 Mortis Poisoner squad. Now I believe this is one of the
that's exemplary battle.
exemplary battles, yeah. So that's pretty fucking groovy. So 10 of them, artificial armor, 2 heavy Alchem Flamers, 8 Alchem Flamers, Phosphex Bomb, Power Scythe, and they're in a Land Raider Proteus, also with the Twin Link.
Oh, that's pretty cool. I think. Yeah. Okay. That'd be that'd be nice. Yeah.
Absolutely fucking love the idea of that, and that is literally the most Death Guard thing ever. Just dickheads with horrendous toxic flamers driving forward in a Land Raider is like chef's kiss.
Yeah, it's great.
Troops, who's got 2 10-man tack squads, literally bare bones tack squads, 10 inducti armed with Alchem Flamers, power weapon, rad grenades, and they're in a Rhino with a heavy Alchem Flamer.
Nice to see the use of the inducti, actually.
Yeah. 10-man multi-melter heavy sports squad, and then a 10-man plasma cannon heavy sports squad, both with augury scanners.
Awesome.
Plasma cannons very often, do you?
No, you don't. But that's a great option. I tell you what I love about this list is the amount of ones you could be potentially rolling when it gets hot. Like the whole thing. I would, if I was to title this, I would call it the Reaping Gets Hot, because Alchem Flamers,
they get hot.
They get hot.
Yeah,
and then the plasma cannons get hot as well.
Yeah.
Hellfire Plasma Cannonade, I assume on one of its functions, probably gets
hot. Yeah.
So I think you're going to lose a lot of guys, but I just like the whole theme of it is pretty good. So just the Alchem Flamer. So it's obviously a template weapon. It's strength 4, AP 5, but it's flesh bane. So you gain flesh bane, but also gain gets hot as well. So
and then to finish off, 2 Dradios with the plasmas, Alos missiles. So, I mean, he didn't go into how you use it, but it's fairly obvious, isn't it? The tack squad's fucking secure objectives. Everything else punches your enemy or fucking sets fire to it or with melter or plasma.
Yeah.
So purchases on top of the 2 boxes is the Death Guard Praetor from Forge World. Again, the same as James said, but to be fair, it's a fucking awesome model.
Yeah.
Heavy weapons pack, a Rhino and a squad of Cataphractii Terminators, which comes to £97 roughly.
Plus a Thunderhammer as well you need to buy, because there is not a Thunderhammer in the plastic kit, so you need to purchase it cheap.
Interesting. Yeah. But to be fair, I haven't even looked, but I'd imagine you can pick Cataphractii up fairly cheap from eBay, because
100%.
There must be some hanging over from the box set. I mean, I've got fucking 20 sat on a shelf.
Yeah, as I say, I love the theme of this list. I love the gets hot theme of this list. This is absolutely.
I just honestly, for me, it's the Mortis Poisoner squad. I think you could go real balls deep on some 3D printed bits.
Yeah.
Little fuel tanks with like wires going to the flamers and stuff. I think you could go really that's the unit that I would spend a bit of time putting some time and effort in. I mean, I love Death Guard. They're fucking great. It's just these all 3 of these lists, all slightly different as well. All a little twist here and there. Either your Destroyer squads or your Poisoner squad.
So just to add the Hellfire Plasma Cannonade, which is what the the Dreadia comes with. So
Yeah.
it has two functions, as I said, but the one that gets hot is it's range 36, strength 8, AP 4, heavy 1, rending 4 up, gets hot, but it's a large blast. So
Nice.
yeah, so it gets hot.
I didn't realize that. That's
Yeah,
fucking. That's pretty good, actually.
yeah. The Hellfire Plasma is really good, really good.
Ah,
Yeah,
yeah. Anyways, thank you, Mark. And if I have got anything wrong on that, I don't think I have, but unfortunately, for some reason, it cut off the front of your list. But yeah, cool
great.
list.
Yeah, great
Like
job.
it a lot.
Yeah,
Now we have Kerry Love. So
yeah,
this is White Scars. So he says at the beginning that he played around with a few word bearer ideas, but everything came out rather generic and boring. So have sprung for something different. So he's done White Scars. Right of War is the Sagir Mazam.
thank you, Sam.
Yeah. Um, and the list is Vigilator with Mastercrafted Nemesis Bolter and Cyberhawk. Armistice with Mastercrafted Autocannon and Cyberhawk. He's got a Contemptor Dreadnought in there, two 10-man Breacher squads, Melter Gun. One has Volkite charges, the other just bolters, artificial armor, and both sergeants with power swords. And they are both in the dedicated Land Raiders with the extra twin linked last cannons. And then he's got a 15-man despoiler squad. Sergeant has Chernobyl Saber, Melter Bombs, Artificial Armor, and 3 despoilers have Chernobyl Sabers. One has Vexilla. 7-man Legion Recon squad, all with Nemesis Bolters, one with Nuncio Vox, and
Yeah,
then he added a 3 Sky Hunter jet bikes with Plasma Cannon, and Sarge has Artificial Armor.
yeah,
And then your heavy support is 8-man Volkite Culverin heavy support squad with
yeah.
Augury Scanner and Artificial Armor, and an 8-man heavy support squad with auto cannons and artificial armor comes in at 2,167 points.
So
So
can you already spot the issue with this list?
yes,
So, Kerry, you don't have anything with Master of the Legion to be able to take
no,
this. So he might talk about the Armistos and what they do, but I would drop the Armistos and add a Delegatus in. Or if you're absolutely hellbent on keeping the Armistos in, you could drop the you could drop a few despoilers, drop a few recon marines, drop a few heavy squads, and then just guys from there, and then just pick up the points like a Delegatus, a cheap one would be like 90 points, right? It's not pricey to get it.
So this is the one where Kerry kind of just went off fucking script and started selling stuff. So this list starts a little differently to others. The first thing you're going to do is open your 2 shiny new boxes, take out the Dradios, and sell them on Heresy Trading. I mean,
Excellent.
I'm not fucking banned, but
Step one.
so yeah, that wasn't the brief, Kerry, but we'll go with it. We'll roll with it. Because you can't use them in this Rite of War. And this is actually interesting. So this is actually where, yeah, like the box set may not be ideal to the list you want to run. But
Yeah.
I mean, I put it in because it's something a bit different. And also, like, legit people are going to want to buy those plastic radios. So they will.
£35, yeah.
So this uses the Sagir Mazan Rite of War, so no non-infantry allowed in the heavy slot. So the radios are used to raise extra cash because of this purchase has to be used as dedicated transports, which they are with the breacher squads. And the breacher squads also work with a Mark III aesthetic. Benefit is that every infantry unit gains the Karash rule and feel no pain 5+, so are more survivable and don't need to buy any apothecaries. Vigilator and Armistice can be converted from Mark IIIs. The Breacher's Volkite Melter weapons come from the box. 2 heavy sports squads use weapons from the heavy weapon box to keep costs down. Either could be swapped for less cannons for more points, but didn't want to be that guy. Note that the spoiler squad in here would ideally be inducti to leverage the great white scars inducti rule, but I know not everyone will like inducti in Mark III armor, so it's a personal choice.
I
Uh, then,
hadn't even thought of that being an issue, really, to be honest.
no, and I haven't. And the thing is, like, it's a legion. Like, just yeah, they're the white scars. Yeah, they use speed.
I tell you what, I'd be up for the Legion inducti having multiple different types of mark of armor. Just
Yeah,
be like, basically, this is all we got. You are the infants of the Legion. You just get what you're given, and then we're going to give the best armor to our best warriors, right?
see,
So just all
I
together.
feel like if you got rid of the jet bikes, this is quite a cool like void fighting
Yeah,
force,
yeah,
so
yeah,
Mortalis
yeah,
style. You're going with the breaches because you're going to use breaches and ship to ship fighting. Even fucking white scars will use breaches in ship to ship fighting.
yeah.
So, I mean, that's how I would look at this list. I'd probably ditch the jet bikes and go down a ZM list, or like a heavy kind of assault list. Um, and then he goes into what he spent his money on. So Nemesis bolters from Beowulf, 20 quid. Breacher shields from Beowulf Printing. Heavy weapon box is 24 quid. The contenter is 32 quid, but I'm fairly certain you'd be able to buy one cheaper on eBay.
Yeah.
Sky Hunters are 34 quid. And then you've got money left over if you've managed to sell your radios to buy all the weapons you need.
Yeah.
And then he says a little on the low side, points wise, thanks to the absence of the radios, but good starter. Future editions would ideally be land speeders for anti-tank and some terminators in another protest or Ebon Keshik for flavor. I really like it. I think your classic White Scars list is kind of assault squads, jet bike heavy. I quite like the idea of a fucking breacher squads heavy assault White Scars force because
Yeah.
they still did
So
it.
yeah, it's interesting, I think, with the heavies, because what it allows you to do is move those like breacher, which are heavy units, 1 inch further, um, which is always good, and it makes up, so it makes up for those things. I mean, you could just run this as a generic White Scars list and then take the radios if you wanted to.
Yeah, yeah,
And I think the Cyberhawks are just quite a cool piece of war gear, just in general.
yeah, yeah,
They do some heavy lifting. But I can see why he's gone for the Sagyamazan though. So just to kind of like, he's gone through a few bits on it, but all units composed entirely with models with the infantry unit type uh, are given the Feel No Pain special rule and the Crash special rule. I mean, the fact that basically you've just got apothecaries in all those units without having apothecaries
yeah,
is fucking brilliant. I mean, that is just insane. The amount of points that you're saving over everybody else. You 55 points for apothecary with artificer armor. Like if you times that by every single one of those units there, that's 300, 400 points. That's a lot of points you're saving. And then all models with the White Scars and Crash special rules gain the Fearless special rule for the duration of any assaults in which they make a successful charge. So essentially,
oh,
the first
nice.
turn of combat, if they're charging, um, that they're gonna stick around even if the combat goes badly. And just to say what the Karash special rule does, so I think it's basically that things with Karash can't join other things. Just bear with me. Oh, the Karash special rule is like some weird rule, isn't it? Where it's not actually in there. So it's like it's not a rule in the rules; it's a rule in the unit. So basically,
Right.
so no enemy player may ever score any victory points for the destruction of a unit with this special rule, regardless of the scenario being played or the victory conditions. So
Okay.
it's just like if you're playing kill points, it's like fuck you, doesn't matter. You can't
You
gain
get
any points
nothing.
from killing anything here. Uh,
Every infantry unit. Fuck. So you're basically not scoring against this list.
so in addition, a model with this special rule may not join any other unit. That's all right because it's just got everybody's got the Karash special rule. So
Yeah.
fine. Yeah, so a really interesting list, really quite dynamic, I think, in the way that it could play. Just sort out the Delegatus issue. Um,
Yeah.
and then yeah, I think this could be quite cool. Um, yeah, yeah, definitely Saki Mazan is such a good writer.
Yeah,
So
that's fucking insane. Like the scoring things, fucking Phil.
yeah, I so for me, I think it's more uh the points you save on apothecaries. So let's just have a look. So you got one, two, three, four, five, six, seven. So 7 times 55. Hang on a second. Let's just get this out. So I just want to be. So let's say every apothecary is armed with artificer armor. So 385 points, and you'd pay more because one of those would be on a jet bike if you wanted to upgrade
Yeah.
it. Just say, for argument's sake, 400 points. So over normal Legion lists, you're saving 400 points from just not having apothecaries, and it's not like those apothecaries can be sniped out either because there are you don't
Yeah,
have
true.
in there. Like
Yeah,
it's not
yeah, true.
like, well, I don't care who you snipe out because they all just come and feel no pain.
I
Uh,
think what I would say, I would be more inclined to run like three kind of 5, 6 man heavy support squads because if you're not losing points against them, um,
yeah, you can just
yeah, that's
max
about
them.
it really. I like it a lot.
Yeah,
Cool.
yeah. The other great thing about this act, activity, Lee, is less about the list building, just more just like what rules work quite well with and what these rights of war do in the list. Just a bit of flavor for each one. So
Yeah, definitely.
yeah, cool. What's next?
What have we got next? We have got Randy Overland
Yeah,
and his Ultramarines.
yeah. So this I love this list. I thought this was really good. This is something that I would take. I think.
So Randy has 2,500 point list Ultramarines using the right of war Logos Lectora. HQ is Praetor with a Paragon Blade using the Warlord trait Aegis of Wisdom, whatever that does. And he has a Master of Signals. Elites is Invictaris Suzerain Squad. In a dedicated transport is a Land Raider Proteus with extra twin-linked las cannon and searchlights. And then he has another Invictaris Suzerain squad, exactly the same, also in a Land Raider Proteus. Troops are 10-man tech squad. Sergeant has Power Fist and Artificer armor, and there's a Vexilla in there, and that is repeated 3 times. Then he has a tactical support squad with melter guns, and the sergeant has an artificer armor, and that's repeated twice. So heavy support is a heavy support squad with 5 additional. So 10. Sorry, I'm fucking deciphering this as I'm going along. So that's 10 with Volkite culverins, and the sergeant has artificer armor, and then 2 Duradio with Hellfire plasma cannonades. They seem to be fairly popular, the plasma, and the missile launchers. So yeah, sorry, that was a bit all over the place, but essentially 2 Invictaris squads in Land Raiders, 3 tac squads, 2 tactical support squads with melter guns, heavy support squad with Volkite culverins, and 2 Duradios.
Yeah. So I really like this list. It's a bit classic Ultramarines. And I think that the double bubble of the Invictus Suzerain is just a great combo, and difficult to fight off. So I think just having a look, you've got 10 las cannons from the Land Raiders. Yeah, 10 las cannons from the Land Raiders. Then you've got quite a lot of melter from the support squads. And then you got anti-infantry for the Volkite culverins, and then anti-infantry essentially from the radios as well. So good. I think just this is just quite a balanced list. I think um, works really really well. The thing that you could do differently is take one of the Invictus Suzerain squads as a command squad, so to give you even more line.
Yeah,
And the tactical support squads, you could always instead of taking. So what's good is that it provides you with anti-tank. So I'd be tempted to do that, but you could always take an inductor squad, which can have a cheeky little melter gun on it as well. So to give you even more line if you know you're going in and you know playing a game. So you know a an inductor squad is 10 man. You can put 2 melter guns on each one of those, I guess. But yeah, really really good. Should I tell you what the Logos Lectoria does?
yes, please do.
So basically uh, you need an additional tax squad to be able to kind of do it, and you need a Master of Signals to be able to unlock the right rule.
Okay.
At the start of your turn, you choose one of these rules, and then it is in effect. But you're not allowed to use the same rule twice in a row, right? So you've got to vary it. So you can have
Right,
full
okay.
touch. So the so every unit, every Legion Astartes infantry unit increases their movement characteristic by 2, but their ballistic skill and weapon skill by -1. So it gets you to move things up the board, but at the sacrifice of weapon skill and ballistic skill. You got hold fast. So again, this only applies to infantry. So they increase their leadership by 1 and may re-roll failed to hit rolls during a shooting attack, but they may not move or run in the movement phase. So that's quite an interesting one, that one. Retribution Strike. So again, infantry only. They must increase their weapon skill characteristic by 1 and gain an additional bonus of +1 to any charge rolls they make, but must reduce their ballistics characteristic by -1. So basically, if you're
Oh,
about
that's
to charge and you've got a couple of charges going off,
yeah.
is the way to go.
That's fucking brilliant.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, that is like Invictus Suzerain weapon skill 6 that's no.
Even just a normal tax squad is going to absolutely fucking crumple another tax squad if you're then hitting back on 5s.
Yeah,
like that's fucking brilliant.
And then you've got regroup. All models, so again, infantry may re-roll their failed leadership tests made to regroup while falling back, and any failed reserve rolls as well. That's interesting, actually. Any failed reserve rolls is interesting. You might be tempted to do that in turn 2, and then your retribution strike in turn 3, because that's probably when most of your assaults are going to go off as well. So yeah, I like it. Really balanced list, I think. This one.
Cool. So Randy says, attached 2,500 point list I came up with the Ultramarines running the Logos Lectora. I think it's a pretty decent balance of tank troop killing with a lot of line units. I'd put the Praetor in with one of the Susie squads and the Master of Signal with the Volkites. Keep a Duradio next to each Land Raider so they can benefit from the +1 to hit and the searchlights on the Land Raiders. Can also light up targets for Duradios in night fighting. I'd probably run the Melter squads behind the Land Raiders to keep them safe in the first turn or 2. Yeah, and that's the only thing I was going to say is a 5-man tactical sports squad is fairly squishy. So keeping them fucking hidden whilst they move up makes a lot of sense. And then the cost breakdown, Legion Champion Master of Signal, 33 quid from 40.
Yeah, that's good. Actually, that's a good old school option, that, but actually you get your Praetor and your Master of Signal that as well. So that's good.
Yeah. 10 axes, £20 from Beowulf, 10 helmets, £15 from Beowulf, 10 shields, £19 from eBay,
That's
heavy weapon upgrades, £24, which will bring it over 100. But if you sell last cannons or cannons, I think it'll balance out. So yeah, it's cool. I like it a lot.
Yeah,
and I think it's a really good base list to then add on to.
Yeah.
Like
so it's interesting about the Invictus Suzerain as well, because I have some on my desk and I just really don't want to paint them because they're just so busy, such busy models.
Yeah.
Just adding some nice fancy helms, axes, and the shields to them with the Mark III, I think we'll just spruce them up to be like, yeah, these are Invictus Suzerain, and then I think nice transfers on the.
I mean, I love the models. Don't get me wrong; the models are fucking brilliant. But I feel like that's the perfect unit where you could just use transfers.
Yeah.
To make them look special, like you say, fancy helmet, maybe some fancy shoulder pads or something, and then a fuckload of cool transfers.
Particularly on the chest, I think.
Yeah. But yeah, love it. Cool. Nice one. What have we got next? James McAvoy. World Eaters Berserker Assault, 2,500 points. Always love a bit of World Eaters. So this is HQ is Praetor, Artificial Armor, Mastercraft Paragon Blade, using the Warlord trait Blood Hunger. Elites is Contemptor, Gravis Last Cannon, Power Fist, Heavy Flamer. And then the troops are 10 Rampagers with Phalanx Blades, Artificial Armor on the Sergeant, in a Proteus Land Raider, which is equipped with Searchlight, and the twin-linked Last Cannon, and a Pintle-mounted multi-melter. And then a second 10-man Rampager squad, exactly the same as the first in the Land Raider. Then we have 2 squads of 15 despoilers, artificer armor on the sergeant with lightning claw and plasma pistol, and all the marines are bolt pistols and chain axes, and both squads have a vexilla. In the heavy support squad, we have a Dradio Talon with one with plasma cannonade, twin-linked heavy bolter and the missile launcher, and one with the Anvilus autocannon.
Mix and matching. That's interesting.
Yeah, I like that. I like that with the heavy bolter and the missile launchers. And then a 10-man heavy support squad with last cannons, artificer armor on the sergeant, and an augury scanner. And he writes, having used World Eater's Berserker Assault since the start of Horus Heresy version 1, I found myself hacking the chain axes of 20 rampages this weekend to replace with 3D printed blades. The new unit options prior to an event in Scotland next week, which gave me the idea for this. Crazy bastards backed up by some firepower. Yeah, I mean,
what's been really interesting, all these lists as well have predicted van braces on these Mark III Marines. Right?
Yeah.
That was one of the risks I think you take with building the armies like this, because you're just like, well, I don't know where I'm going to get the arms from for Mark III Marines. But yeah, clearly all these guys knew that this would not be an issue.
Yeah, I like this list. It's just a load of dickheads running forward or driving forward and punching people in the face.
Yeah. And enough anti-tank. I mean, there's 20 las cannons there. So yeah. Well, like that will, if you can't beat them in close combat, you can shoot them.
Yeah. And then he goes on to say his additional costs. So Praetor from Age of Darkness box set, £10 eBay. Yeah, chain axes, bolt pistols times 30 sets 3D printed, 30 quid. Yeah. Twin phalanx blade arms times 20 sets 3D printed, £20. Contemptor Dreadnought, £30 from Independent Store, and then heavy weapons box. Sell spare heavy weapons, Contemptor JJ weapons to make back the excess £12.50. Any excess cash from weapon sales goes into 3D printed heads for the rampages and the Praetor. Yeah, I think that's the thing, isn't it? I think I quite like World Eaters in Mark III. And again, I think Rampagers, bare heads, kind of, mix up the shoulder pads and stuff, and the arms, and yeah, fucking awesome.
Yeah.
So yeah, good job, James. I like this list. It's fairly simple, but yeah.
But the World Eaters are, aren't they?
But that's it. They're not a complicated legion, are they? Just go forward.
Yeah.
And fucking smash dick. What have we got left? So this was one of the lists I had to completely rewrite. So if I've missed anything or made any mistakes, I apologize. But Battle Scribe is fucking AIDS for my eyes. Like it just blows my mind. Like I use Battle Scribe for the rules. Like if I'm playing a game, it's handy to just look at the rules. But when you're trying to read someone's list, it's fucking all over the place. And Nick sent us in quite a few lists, so I have called him Nick Loves Battle Scribe. So he's done a Night Lords list. Right War is Terror Assault, and the points 2,995 point list. So HQ is Praetor, Artificial Armor, Iron Halo, Bolt Pistol, Mastercrafted, Paragon Blade, using the Warlord trait, Belay Master. He is with a command squad, artificer armor, 8 plasma pistols, 4 power fists, 4 lightning claws, Chernobyl saber, Legion standard, Nuncio Vox, and they have prey sight. And they're all running in a Land Raider Proteus with the whole twin-linked glass cannon, hunter killer missile, and a pintle mounted multi-melter. Elites is a 10-man veteran squad. Artificial armor, 10 Nemesis bolters, 5 power axe, 4 power sword axes, 4 power swords, 1 thunderhammer, Legion, Vexilla, Nuncio Vox, prey sight, and an augury scanner.
I'm just gonna sorry, Lee, I'm just gonna pause there because my dog's being a pain in the arse. Hang on a second. I do apologise for having to pause that. My dog ran away from the dog walker upstairs. to get away from his walk in the rain. So dog walker didn't want to come upstairs and then disturb our call. So she just messaged me saying, "I'm coming back for your dog. Make sure he's at the door, ready to ready to go." Sorry, we were on a command squad, I think.
So we just covered the elite squad, I think. Right. So troops. So because he's using the Terror Assault Rite of War, he's able to take Terror squads as
Troops.
troops, but I don't know if they're line. Are they line? I don't know.
I'll double check for you before you go through.
So we have what have we got? 4 10-man terror squads with an assortment of weapons. I won't go through all the weapons, but a mixture of chain swords, chain blades, flamers, rotor cannons, volkites. So 4 of them. And then the heavy support squad is 2 Duradio dreadnoughts equipped with hellfire, plasma cannonades, missile launchers, and prey sight. Oh, and all the terror squads have prey sight. And that is that.
It's very interesting about the terror squads. I hadn't realised that basically any model can take a bolter, a volkite charger, a rotor cannon, or a flamer. That's really interesting.
Yeah, they're a fucking brilliant squad. I was having a very quick look whilst you were dealing with your dog, and yeah, they've got some fucking awesome rules. Infiltrate, preferred enemy infantry. But I don't think they're line.
No, they're not line. No. So the benefit of this would be that it would kill lots of stuff, but you've only got one scoring unit in the entire.
Yeah. Yeah.
So if you're intending to murder your opponent, I think this is fine. But you could always drop 2 terror squads and then put 2 tac squads in as an alternative. I mean, 2 massive disorder squads, right? Because leaning into
I kind of like it anyways, to be honest. I'm a bit like, fuck it, I'm not going to bother scoring. I'm just going to fuck with you, which seems quite Night Lords, to be honest. But in terms of winning games, then you probably need to add some scoring in.
Yeah, it's interesting, and it's interesting seeing vets with with Nemesis bolters as well, because it is quite a pricey upgrade, but they do have relentless, so you do have a bit of flexibility to like shoot them, because I suppose typically you'd be like, oh, okay, well these Nemesis bolters are going to hang at the back, but actually they could just be up front fighting, but just have Nemesis bolters and picking off characters before they go into fights, which is
so. I couldn't see anything on the Battle Scribe list about the second Land Raider. So I don't know if the veterans were meant to go in the second Land Raider or if he just hasn't included it. Because my Bletchley Park level of code breaking didn't quite go that far with fucking Battle Scribe.
Let's assume it's in the vet squad. I mean, and then a Land Raider is going to be around 240 points.
Something like that. 230, 240, 250.
So you've got an expensive unit within the vet squad, but you've got 2 quite scary threats there within the Kratos command squad and then the vet squad as well. I just think it's very interesting about the Nemesis bolters because you're just like, well, I'm going to snipe out some characters. I'm going to get some AP2s. Like before I get I'm going to snipe out the sergeant with a power fist, which is going to mess up my sergeant. But I'm also going to get rid of that apothecary as well, so they don't have any, feel no pains on before I assault them. So they're expensive, even if you were to have 5 with Nemesis bolters, I think. But but they are quite good for sniping out characters before you get into combat.
So I think this list will do very well against infantry heavy lists. I think it would struggle against anything with vehicles, dreadnoughts, anything with an armor value because essentially the terror squads are designed to kill infantry.
Yeah.
Um, but I kind of like it. I think you just have, if you do a list like this, you just have to accept the fact that sometimes you're going to go up a list that's probably just going to kick your dick in.
Yeah, yeah, that's interesting. I think although you still have 10 las cannons, I mean 10 las cannons is nothing to be sniffed at if you focus fire.
Potentially, it could literally just be one land raider, in which
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
you've got five,
yeah,
and the plasma cannonades.
yeah,
Um, but I like it. I like it a lot. He wrote, "Hi guys, this version follows your brief on only using the two boxes because he's done a couple of other lists, but he went completely down the rabbit hole. Excuse me, of adding terminators. I factored the command accessory sprue is 1 per 5 figures, so this will
yeah.
be used for lightning claw, power fist, power swords. The terror squads are utilizing the special weapons, probably
Yeah.
need 3D printing for special assault weapons to hang off
Yeah,
belts. And
that's interesting actually because like on the flip side is he it's a very good point, but the units that can use these and have all these things in them are terror swords because you can mix and match between
yeah,
the
yeah, yeah,
the
yeah.
flamers, the rotors, etc. Having that as an option does mean that these two box will be excellent for terror squads. Actually, yeah, I had not considered that until he
Yeah.
pointed that out. That's a good point. Yeah,
And the Nemesis bolters would just have some plastic attached to represent silencers,
yeah,
or suppressors,
yeah.
as we call them. I like it. Yeah, I like it a lot. Like I say, I think it will struggle against certain lists, but I think it's very fucking Night Lords.
Yeah.
I'm not 100% down with the Night Lords rules, but I believe the Terror Assault also messes about with night fighting rules. So you can keep the night fighting rule going.
Basically, if you outnumber, you get bonuses. But shooting and in shooting and in close combat as well.
Right, okay. And then
So
the prey sight, what is
it just basically, but you just ignore night fighting. Basically,
okay.
your enemy is
Yeah.
fucked by night fighting in that right war, and then having prey sight means that you are not fucked. So having them on direct. So a really good example of where it really comes into their own is you can't buy searchlights on contemptors or the radios or Leviathan.
Interesting.
The only thing you can buy them on, I think, a dreadnought is a box dread. You can buy a searchlight on a box dread.
Right.
So they are quite easily capped at the 24-inch range unless something
Yeah.
else kind of like identifies it before you shoot. Um,
Interesting.
and so the prey sight gets around that. So it makes the radios particularly good, I think, because the fact that most legions won't be able to buy a searchlight for it, right? So
Yeah, yeah. Oh, that is that's interesting.
yeah,
Yeah, cool.
awesome.
I think that is the last one. There you go. That's it. Thank you very, very much for your list. Like I say, if we haven't covered your list, I do apologize. If we ever get the time, we'll probably do another one and use the lists that we've been given that weren't used today. But unfortunately, we only have so much time. But thank you massively to the people that have sent us in. I think it just goes to show that, I mean, these boxes are going to be incredible value, aren't they?
Yeah, well, shall I tell you the value actually? So I made a
Yeah,
post.
go for it. Yeah.
So this is on two. I did it on two boxes, and the reason why I did this post on two boxes was because it gets tricky trying to do any sort of cost benefit savings analysis on squads of 10. And then I think that we are under the impression that you have 5 of each special weapon in each box as well. So that means that you have a whole special weapons box on 2 boxes. So this is assuming you're buying 2 boxes. So so this is what you get. You get 60 Marines, 2 radios, 2 Land Raiders, and then you get 1 special weapons box, which is 60 weapons as a result of buying two of these
Right.
boxes.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So 2 battle group boxes from the cost that we know would be £250 from GW, and then bought separately. So if I was to buy all this that you can see on the screen at the moment separately, it would cost me £373. So that's a saving of £123 on 2 boxes. So £61.50 on a single box. So you're basically getting a third of the box kind of like free. The somebody made the point on Instagram. They were like, "Oh, but the saving will be even better for on the from a like a third party retailer. The
Yeah.
saving is not better percentage wise proportionately, because remember that um, from those retailers will sell all these other bits also
Cheap.
at 20%.
Yeah.
So so don't it's like a false economy. Don't be fooled
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
that it will be an even better saving. It's the same proportional relative saving, whether
Yeah.
you get it from GW or
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
just that you'll just be spending less overall. So I think a third of you'd be saving a third. I think is a good kind of like rule of thumb. Do I think it's worth it? Probably on balance, I do. I think it's worth it though if you don't if you what I the good thing they've done is they're selling the Mark III as well as selling these boxes. So if you just want Mark
Yes.
III,
Yeah.
then just buy the boxes, right?
Yeah.
Don't feel like you have to buy the radio and the Land Raider. What I think was unusual though, and is worth pointing out, is that I had said in the previous episode that I thought that we would get the radio later as a full kit. So the las cannons would be in there, the Borealis missiles would be in there, but actually that's not what they're doing. They're selling the 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 radio that we get in the kit as a
Yeah.
separate kit, and
Yeah.
then must be doing the Land Raiders the las cannon one later as well. So they're
Yeah.
not going to be like the Contemptor. They're going to sell them as different kits.
Um, I mean, I guess if you like rewind 10 years to when you had a 5-man resin Mark III squad and you had to buy the bolters because it didn't come with the bolters, it would cost you like 50, 60 quid for 5 dudes. And now from GW, so you can buy this cheaper, £125 will get you 30 dudes with all the weapons and an upgrade pack. Like that's when you think of it like that, that's insanely good value.
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, I mean it's fucking awesome, isn't it? And I understand some people don't like these Mark III. Like if you don't like them, don't buy them. Like simple as that, really.
Got Mark VI. They look great.
Yeah, yeah, but then some people don't like them.
And buy Primaris, right? A new hobby.
But yeah, hopefully you've enjoyed this. Like I say, big shout out to everyone that sent lists in. Thank you to the guys that we showed their lists. It's a bit of fun, but it kind of does go to show what can be done. I do feel like some legions lend themselves more to this than others. But then maybe that's just an excuse to start a new legion. So yeah,
I think the other thing it's interesting actually, and just what my final thought on this is that you might be saying to yourself, oh, I'd like to start a new one. £300, it's a lot of money in one go, especially just approaching Christmas. But I think the other thing is to think of being value. It's not just the games that you play, but also the hours of hobby time, building, painting. So for that £300, that's a good investment in your own time in terms of having a hobby as well, I think. And actually, it doesn't break the bank in the way that Lee described previously. So a Land Raider, resin Land Raider, would have set you back 120 quid by the time that you finish with a resin Land Raiders. A radio with 2 weapon sets would have cost 70 quid. So when you look at it like that, it's definitely a great age that we're kind of like living in. So yeah, I think that a good investment and a good thought experiment, just doing this kind of like list building. See, and I think that it lends itself to those people who are going to try and be creative. I think is that as well with their list building and list writing. What can you do with a limited budget, with a limited set of models as well?
absolutely cool. Wow. All that is left now is to shout out our Praetor level Patreons. So big shout out to everyone who is a member of our Patreons. We keep saying this, but we are absolutely blown away by the support we've had from the community. So massive shout out to all our Patreons, but a particular shout out. Am I reading these names? Am I?
I can do it if you want. I
Right.
think I'm gonna sneeze if I do it, but I'm happy to go for it. Yeah, so we run a Patreon. It helps us to fund the channel, right? And it helps us to do episodes like this. So if you want to support us for as little as £3 a month, then please go and check it out. So we have, I think we have about 80 Pro Tour level Patreons, friends of the show. Thank you guys. So Sultan, Jared Rowe, Blake Steve, Leon Haynes, Edwin Barnett, John Hathaway, Adria Arcos, Andrew Gomes, TSC Paints, Charles Hawkins, Eric Brennan, Chris Keith, Harley Mann, Benny 422, Flinty, Peter Jan van Woest, Brian Scott, Joe, Jack Silence, Henrik Ramison, Lurpy Wargaming, Alistair Croxon, Alex Freeman, Mike, Jared Cope, Benjamin Lengarka, Isaac Halstead, Tyrannus, Andy Dudley, Stephen Daniel, Gareth Morris, Jack Stillwell, Legion Minis, Lewis Hibbins, Mark Gallagher, Unexplained Miniatures, Matt Fuller, Keon Tez, George Ethan Brull, Big T Painting, Callum Felkus, Clayton Unruh, WH Black Panther, Craig McKell, James McAvoy, Kevin Abramow, Nicholas Drax, Andrew G, James, That Guy Lazar, Saigon Sadler, Chris Levitt, Julian, Mark Ainsworth, Dale Barrett, Kerry Love, Alex Robinson, Tom Spear, Hammer and Nails, 40k, Richard Harris, Water Beast, Simon Whitehouse, Peter King, Thomas Clark, Ashley Bowley, Pete Day, Al, Randy Overland, Thomas Lake, Edgar Popolotsky, Bradley Schutz, Patrick Greenstreet, Richard Willis, Tom Hayward, Ben Robinson, Ben Ide, Bill Crate, John McCardle, and Thomas Silverstone. Thank you, guys. You are true best friends of the show.
And just the last thing from some more of our sponsors. So shout out to Cryptic Cabin. If you want to go and buy one of these awesome boxes we've just been talking about, go check them out. And Bits Monsters for hopefully when they've got hold of them and they're splitting the bits down.
Yeah.
Go check these guys out, based in Northern Ireland, I believe. Free UK shipping over 25 quid, which is fucking awesome. And if you use the code Heresy Hammer, it's 10% off Horus Heresy items. Go check them out. BattleBling gaming accessories for all those frothing for Legionnaires Imperialis.
We had something, just to let you give you a peek behind the curtain, guys. We had something absolutely amazing planned this October with BattleBling, didn't we, Lee?
Fuck yeah!
And then because of the fact that this Legion's Imperialis just looks like it's been knocked back into 2024, it is not going ahead. So watch this space, because we've got something absolutely awesome to do with BattleBling, but we just can't do it until they announce a date to let us know that we can do that thing.
Yeah, I'm very. I think anyone who watched the one we did, or the Legionnaires Imperialis show, will know how excited I was, and my raging 8mm boner is now very, very, very soft.
Yeah, because we it's interesting because we've got like a little dribbles of news from them, haven't we? So we had the drop pods, which was like, and then we had the little like land speeders, and it was like, oh, they'd be better just like saving it, not showing.
Yeah, I find it very, very bizarre. Like, obviously something's happened. It's all been pushed back, but it's like we're gonna keep fucking teasing you about it. I think they've got a battle report in the next White Dwarf, and it's like you're fucking playing the game, but you're not letting me buy the game. I want to play it. Like, let me play it. So bizarre. But yeah, if you're still raging or preparing like I am, I'm getting stuff ready for when it finally releases. Go check out BattleBling store. They also sell 28mm Heresy stuff, but yeah, they've got loads of bits for Epic, so go check them out. Awesome dudes. And there will be a link in the profile as well. And if you use the Heresy Hammer, it should be a 10% off. So go check them out. Big thank you, guys. Like and subscribe. Please comment and share. If you've got anything you want to bother us about, then email at heresyhammer30k@gmail.com. I must warn you that our email is fucking absolutely horrendous. I went on there to look through for lists, and We just have so many emails, but it's just stuff, isn't it? Like,
Yeah. Well, I
just
don't mind that. I mean, I've got my normal personal has like 50,000 emails on it,
I
but
really see. No, mine's like as soon as I just delete, like
oh
I
no, no, no.
delete everything.
So you never know when you might need them. I'm an email hoarder. That's the
Yeah, but we get stuff from like YouTube and stuff. It's like I don't fucking care. Stop bothering me. Anyways, yeah. So if you do want to grab our attention, probably put a title in capital caps lock, fucking
read this. Read this now.
shouting "Oi, dickheads,"
Yeah.
or something along those lines, and we won't miss it. And if you do want to check out our Patreon, go on Patreon, search Heresy Hammer for as little as £3 a month, cheaper than a coffee from any high street coffee shop. I think I went for coffee the other day. It was £3.40 for a fucking coffee. So cheaper than a coffee. You get access to all our tacticas. We release 2 a month. And then all the extra bollocks. There's loads of stuff on there. Go check it out. We do all sorts of stuff. So go check that out. And a big shout out to all our patrons who are already subscribed. We love you all. That is it. Peace
Thanks,
out.
guys. Nice. See you on the next one. Take care.
Cheers. Bye bye.
Bye bye.